Hello class, welcome back to another session in human resource management, and today's topic is talent acquisition. The learning outcome, define talent acquisition and discuss the relevant components of this new perspective on traditional staffing and of organizations. Analyze the role of various internal and external recruitment methods. So the talent is a new concept, like a strategic human resource. In a previous, traditionally human resource people, they used to use the term recruitment. So do not get confused. Recruitment and a talent, they both are same. Discuss strategies for recruiting a more diverse workforce. Continuation in learning outcomes, discuss selection and discuss its strategic importance, define reliability and validity and explain their importance in selection techniques, describe at least 4 types of testing used in selection and analyze the conflicting legal concerns related to alcohol and drug testing. Another learning of this chapter, describe the major types of selection interviews by degree of structure, type of content, and manner of administration. Explain the importance of reference checking, describe strategies to make such checking effective, and analyze the legal issues involved. So these are the learning outcomes of this chapter. Now, what is talent acquisition? It's an emerging human resource programming concept focused on finding, acquiring, assessing, and hiring job candidates. Recruitment, another part of human resource personnel or manager. The process of searching out and attracting qualified job applicants, which begins with the identification of a position that requires staffing and is completed when resumes and all other completed application forms are received from an adequate number of applicants. There are thousands of ways where people they are getting the right resources. One of the effective ways of finding a resources or the job candidate is advertising your job on job portals like Indeed, Google, you know. Recruiter are a specialist in recruitment whose job is to find and attract capable candidate. Sample job summary, figure 5.1 is the summary of the job. They're looking for Willowtech Industries seeking a talent acquisition specialist to develop and leverage diverse candidate channels to connect with top talent in the national and international telecommunication sectors. So here they're talking about, and Willowtech seeks a strong internal and external communicator. So they're looking for, this is a sample of job summary. The businesses, the organizations they look for, they advertise on the different job portals. Employer branding, the image of an organization based on the benefits of being employed by the organization. If you talked about Apple, you've talked about Google, Facebook, they offer top-notch benefits to employees to retain them into their organization. Includes experiences a candidate goes through during the recruitment process, including their experience with the company's website. Always, when you are applying to a specific role in a specific business, try to dig in and look for the websites. Which kind of business is that? What do they offer? And how long they have been in the business. Acknowledgement, thanking candidate for their interest and resume. Initial greeting by the receptionist. Ability of the interview to articulate organizational values and cultures. So these are the steps for branding employer can do. Define the target audience, very important. Develop the employee value proposition. Reinforce the value proposition in communication. Employer branding 3 steps. Define the target audience. That's what we talked about previously, that it's important to target your audience. Now, if you are looking for a specialized or technical person and you're putting your resume or jobs on a generic way, not into the right platform, you might end up, not finding any suitable candidate. So the right medium, the right platform, and the websites are key here to define your target audience. Develop the employee value proposition, reinforce value proposition in communication. Excuse me. Figure 5.2, an overview of the recruitment process. Identify job opening, right? Who does that? HR planning, strategic planning, employee resignation and termination. So that is the first step, within the organization. They look for more people. And who has to initiate, who has the first hand information? The human resource. Then specify job requirements from job description, JDs, right? JDs, and job specifications. Selection method of recruitment, internal and external. So, this is an important thing to define. Are you giving a chance to internal employees or external people? Generate a pool of qualified applicants, employment equity, diversity goals. Recruitment from within, human capital theory. Accumulation of firm-specific knowledge and experience involves a joint investment by both employer and employee. Therefore, both parties benefit from maintaining a long-term relationship. So it's always a key thing, important thing to hire from within the organization, because existing employees, they know the culture, they know the values. And of course, if you're giving them value, it's building up, the long-term relationship. Recruiting from within advantages. Every selection, internal or external, has its own advantages and disadvantages. So you need to weigh in. If you are gaining more advantages, just go for that option. Rewarding competence enhances commitment, morale, and performance. Insiders may be more committed to goals and less likely to leave. Managers have longer term perspective when making business decisions. More accurate assessment of candidate skills and performance level requires less orientation, because training cost goes down. Disadvantages, discontent of unsuccessful candidates. Let's say, you didn't hire that internal people. So that would, spread out the negativity about the organization. Time consuming to post and interview all candidates if one is already preferred. Employee dissatisfaction with the insider as a new boss. Possibility of inbreeding, right? So these are the disadvantages if you recruit internally. Internal recruitment methods. So what are the methods in a job posting? Human resource records, skill inventories. Or probably, you post it, right? You send generic email internally memo asking about if somebody's interested in. So again, advantages and disadvantages of job posting as well. Advantages of job posting internally provides every qualified employee with a chance for a transfer promotion, right? Anyone and everyone would like to just move on to the next level. Reduces the likelihood of special deals and favoritism. Demonstrates the organization's commitment to career growth and development. Provides equal opportunity to all qualified employees. Now, the other side, the disadvantages: unsuccessful job candidates may become demotivated, demoralized, discontented, and unhappy if feedback is not communicated in a timely and sensitive manner. Recruiting from outside, advantages and disadvantages. Again, choosing this method. A larger pool of qualified candidates, you would have that. Availability of more diverse applicant pool, acquisition of new skills, knowledge, and ideas, elimination of employee rivalry and competition for transfers, promotions. Hiring individuals who already have necessary skills reduces training cost. Planning external recruitment, considerations, type of job, effects recruitment method chosen, and the ratios, right? How productive that planning method is, percentage of applicants that proceed to the next stage of selection. Like time is money, and it's a rigorous process of selecting the right candidate for the next level. time-lapse data, time from of recruitment to the new employee start work. So this is, the most successful ways to find a job in Canada 2012 figure. So in traditional networking, 46%. It's likely that people would get a job if you have strong networking within to the right people. Internet job boards 25%, agencies, recruiters 14, cold call 7, other 7, newspaper, periodical, look at that, 1%. External recruitment methods, these are the methods: employee referrals, former employees, educational institutions, online networking sites, online recruiting. So these are the external recruitment methods one can choose from. Examples of talent acquisition pipelines from educational institutions. Like in your case, if you would be signed on a practicum for any business, and once you're done completing your practicum, it's highly likely that you have been absorbed if you follow all of the rules, all of the policies, and if you have a skill set which they would need it. So career fairs are one way of attracting, having the talent into the pipeline. Placement and co-ops, internships as well. Recruiting non-permanent staff, temporary help agencies, right? There are temp agencies which provides, they have a pool of employees, those who look for everyday job. The benefits of that is cost less than permanent employees, immediate replacement of unsuitable temporary worker. Workers are often highly motivated. Contract workers as well, work directly for the employer, specified type of work or period of time, benefits coverage of seasonal or unplanned peaks in business, specialized work or projects, reduced layoffs during downturns. Recruiting a more diverse workforce, attracting older workers at or beyond retirement age. They are pretty much loyal, employees, loyal people, have a high job satisfaction, strong sense of loyalty and work ethics, good people skills. Concentrations to remove stereotype attitudes, develop flexible work arrangements. You need to design issues in selections preparations, right? Develop selection criteria like a numbering. Let's say you set down the questions, and as soon as you ask a question and the applicant replies, you note down those numbers, give them a numbers, let's say 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10, these are the numbers. Attracting younger employees, high energy, enthusiasm, physical strength. Consider, provide independence and work-life balance, and give variety of experiences. Designated group members, assist in a goal of employment equity, alternative publications for recruitment, liaison with agencies assisting designated groups. Let's say for the purpose of interview, right? If you're doing research and you're working on a research on a specified or specific community members, you can ask them. So these are, the common recruitment methods, right? Time lapsed per hire, cost, offers applicant cost, quality of hires and cost, and the yield ratio. So here the figure 6 typical hurdles in the selection process. So one is preliminary applicant screening. That is like if you're not using technology, if you're doing manual, screening, gonna take ages for you to select. So thanks to the technology and job portals where they have a specific algorithm, in the back end, the coding, and they take out, those special skill sets which the applicants have, and then float it to the next step. Selection testing, selection interview, background investigation, reference checking, supervisory interview and realistic job preview, and hiring decision and candidate notification. So these are the typical selection process. More or less every businesses they are choosing out of it. Acquiring employees in the law guidelines. Ensure that all selection criteria and strategies are based on the job description and job specifications. It's not something that you listed an accountant person and you're asking questions related to non-accounting job. If you want to reject applicants, make false statements on their application forms or resumes. So treat all applicants in the same manner regardless of personal factors. Principle of assessment accommodation. Provide all applicants with an equal opportunity to fully demonstrate their qualifications. Like you can ask questions, check their knowledge, based on base assessment accommodation complete information. Do not jump on the conclusion if you found out the very first question the individual is unable to answer. Step one, preliminary applicant screening. That is like I said, more rigorous, time-consuming job, but thanks to the technology, right? Use of technology is becoming increasingly popular. Selection testing, screening device used by approximately 2/3 of Canadian organizations. And what are those? Like maybe the testing or quiz. They come up with a quiz or critical case studies, and then they hand over to the candidates and look for who would be able to solve those. Reliability, validity, reliability, the degree to which selection procedures yield comparable data over time. In other words, the degree of dependability, consistency, or stability of the measures used. Now, the validity, the accuracy with which a predictor measures what is intended to measure. Again, types of validity is there, right? That's more technical in terms of if you're going for engineering background, more technical background, people, or a high level, people, those who would be the decision makers. Again, the validity, it's going on. Types of tests used in selection: cognitive, right, intelligence test, emotional intelligence test, and specific cognitive abilities. Motor physical abilities, work sampling. There are different types of tests one can use in order to select the right candidate for the job. So this is more technical, mechanical comprehension, right? Two problems from the test of mechanical comprehension. So this is for more technical people. Crawford small parts dexterity test. So this is something you are given the tools, the small parts where you need to come up accurately, like a matching. I think that is primarily used in where the assembly lines, automobile sector, where the assembly lines are there, and you need to work on assembly line, moving assembly line, and need to put a the car parts into the right place. Thematic apprehension test. So these are the tests as well, where the image is given to the individual, and that the person or that applicant talks about that. Physical examination only permitted after written offer of employment. Again, it depends if you have applied for the firefighter role or the policing role, right? So that is something, the physical examination is of paramount. They look for the physical test as well. Substance abuse testing, of course, in Canada, employers are not permitted to screen candidates for substance use. But, again, if it is the part of your job, let's say the policing, where the public dealing is there. So this is, again, you can ask at the end, before pre-employment substance, abuse test. Polygraph testing, often referred to as a lie detector. I think it's something more deductive, more secretive job for job interviews. Selection interview, interviewer objectives, and applicant objectives. Now look at that. Interviewer assesses qualifications. So applicants they present the positive image, observe behavior, sell their skill set. So there are different observation from the point of view of interviewer and applicant. Types of interviews, like there are some structured interviews and an unstructured or both mixed interviews. One-on-one panel, right, or face-to-face technology enabled. I think in these days, like over the internet, like a Zoom or Microsoft Teams, they use for taking interviews. Common interviewing mistakes: poor planning, snap judgments, negative emphasis, hello effect, poor job knowledge, contrast error. So this is the common mistakes the interviewer they make. Conducting an effective interview the other way, right? You need to plan, establish rapport, asking questions, closing the interview, and evaluating the candidate. Structure interview questions. There are the samples provided, so go through those questions. And there are background investigation, reference checking. Once the selection has been made, you opted to go forward with the job applicant, verify accuracy of information provided, includes criminal record check, verification of educational qualifications, verification of previous employment, performance related references from past supervisors. Credit check may also be included. Common lies on resumes, dates of employment. So these are the top 7 resume lies. Professional license goes to company self-owned businesses. Background investigation, reference checking, considerations, obtain written permission. Always ask that everything on your resume is true, and then you have an access to public sources, for example Facebook, so you can double check, or LinkedIn, where that individual has worked previously. Qualified privilege, providing references. Online posting by job candidates that concern hiring managers. So look at that online posting: drug or alcohol use, inappropriate photos or information. Like, everything is public. I mean, more or less in these days, whatever you do, people tend to post on social media, and it's quite easily accessible. If you're applying, any employer can access that. Supervisory interview and realistic job preview. The supervisor is the best qualified to assess job knowledge skills, can answer job specific questions, must feel comfortable with new hire, can assess fit with current teams members. Realistic job preview. The last of these steps is hiring decision candidate notification. So compile information from all techniques used, evaluate information about each candidate. Immediate supervisor usually makes final hiring decision, make offer that specify terms and conditions of employment, and give candidates time to think about the offer, and notify all finalists who were not selected. So this is it. Today we talked about the talent acquisition. If you have any questions, just write down your questions, and once we come live, so I would be able to answer your questions, or you can post your questions on the discussion, the course LMS, and I would be able to answer from there as well. So I'll see you in my next video in the series of human resource course. So bye for now.